In 2004, workers were breaking up asphalt in Jerusalem when they heard something strange beneath their shovels, the hollow echo of an immense void. What they found down there silenced 2,000-year-old critics and proved that one of the most questioned miracles in the Bible happened in a real place. Very real. There are places in Jerusalem where time hasn't just passed, it has folded back on itself, waiting to be discovered. And what was hidden beneath that asphalt would forever change what we know about faith and history. It all began with a mundane sound, that of machines digging into the soil on the southern slope of the ancient city of David in Jerusalem. In the summer of 2004, workers were repairing a sewer pipe when the metal teeth of the excavators struck something on wide steps, carved into the stone, hidden for almost 2,000 years. At first, they thought they were ordinary ruins, but as archaeologists arrived and began to carefully remove the earth, layer by layer, what emerged before them took the academic world's breath away. These were monumental steps descending into an immense trapezoidal pool, measuring approximately 70 meters in length. These were not ordinary access steps, they were ceremonial steps, built for multitudes. The place was not only ancient, it was legendary. The Pool of Siloam, mentioned in biblical texts, reappeared before human eyes after centuries of complete absence. The exact setting where, according to the Gospel of John, a man blind from birth regained his sight. For generations, critics and skeptics claimed the account was symbolic, a myth created centuries later to illustrate a moral lesson. They said such a pool had never existed, that it was a pious allegory. But there were the stones, cold testimony that something very real had happened in that precise place. To understand the origin of this pool, it is necessary to travel back in time almost 2,700 years ago. To the year 701 BC, Jerusalem faced the threat of a relentless enemy, the Assyrian Empire of Sin, known for destroying entire cities and deporting populations. King Hezekiah knew that if the Gihon Spring, the city's main water supply, located outside the walls, fell into the hands of invaders, all would be lost. Thirst would kill his people before any battle even began. So, the king ordered one of the most audacious feats of antiquity, a tunnel carved into the living rock, leading the water from the spring inside the walls, making it inaccessible to enemies. What makes this tunnel extraordinary is not only its 533-meter length through solid limestone, but the construction method. 2 teams of excavators started from opposite ends, one at the Gihon Spring, the other where the pool would be digging only with bronze and iron tools, guided by rock tapping and primitive calculations. Against all odds, the 2 teams met in the middle of the mountain with an accuracy of just a few centimeters. In 1880, an inscription was discovered inside the tunnel, describing the moment of the encounter. While the diggers raised their pick one towards the other, and when only 3 cubits remained, the voice of a man calling his companion was heard, and the waters flowed from the spring to the pool. This inscription, known as the Siloam inscription, is now in the Istanbul Museum and is considered one of the most important relics of the ancient Hebrew language. The tunnel's waters ended in a large pool, built with megalithic stones, an internal reservoir, the Pool of Siloam. It was a vital structure, both militarily and spiritually. From that water, Jerusalem drew its life during sieges and wars, and centuries later, that same water would become a symbol of purification and faith. Before we discover what happened in that pool centuries later, pause for a moment. If you're fascinated by places where history, archaeology, and faith tangibly meet, where the sacred ceases to be mere belief and becomes stone, water, and aventure in the right place, subscribe now to Sacred Roots and activate the notification bell, because we're going to continue unearthing these mysteries that connect the past to the present. And the Pool of Siloam is just the beginning of this journey. When the people returned from exile in Babylon, the chronicler Nehemiah described the restoration of the fountain gate and the steps leading down to the Pool of Siloam. This mention shows that long before it became the scene of a miracle, the place was already an essential part of the inhabitants' spiritual routine. It was there that pilgrims ritually washed themselves before ascending to the temple, a symbolic journey of purification before encountering the divine. Modern excavations have revealed even more than the pool. Archaeologists followed an ancient paved road made of enormous limestone blocks, some weighing over a ton, directly connecting the Pool of Siloam to the Temple Mount. This path, about 600 meters long, was the route by which pilgrims from all over the ancient world ascended, chanting and praying. Each step, their voices mingled with the sound of flowing water, creating an atmosphere of profound reverence. Along the sides of this street, shops, mikvehs, ritual baths, and commercial areas were found, an entire urban infrastructure dedicated to receiving the crowds that arrived for the great festivals. Jerusalem, at that time, was not just a political city, but the beating heart of the spiritual life of an entire people. During the Feast of Tabernacles, a significant ritual took place. Priests carried golden jars filled with water from the Pool of Siloam to the temple altar, pouring it out in a solemn ceremony. It was a symbol of blessing and divine presence flowing among the people. It is precisely in this context, during one of these feasts, that the Gospel of John places the most memorable episode associated with the place. According to John, chapter 9, a man blind from birth, an important detail, since it was not acquired blindness, but a condition considered incurable at the time at Jesus. Instead of simply healing him with a word, Jesus spat on the ground, made mud, and anointed the man's eyes, ordering him, "Go, wash in the Pool of Siloam." The man obeyed. He went down the steps, washed in those waters, and saw for the first time in his life. The story echoed for centuries as a powerful metaphor for faith and spiritual transformation. But what archaeologists found to millennia later transformed the metaphor into tangible, documented, excavatable history. The site was real. The stones were real. The steps the blind man supposedly descended were there, and the miracle, perhaps closer to historical reality than many imagined. The Siloam steps are wide and imposing, built with remarkable precision for the time. The marks of time are still etched into them, grooves left by millions of feet, small inscription signs of where that tell silent stories. During excavations, thousands of coins were found near the pool and along the pilgrimage route, most dated from the 1st century AD, including one minted around the year 29, precisely the period of Jesus' ministry. These coins are not merely relics. They are silent testimonies of a living, vibrant Jerusalem, of pilgrims who left their offerings or lost them on the way to the temple. Each one is a preserved particle of time, a whisper from an era in which the sacred and the everyday mingled without clear boundaries. For scholars, these discoveries rewrote the spiritual and archaeological map of the ancient city. They prove that the pool was not symbolic, but part of a complex system of purification and pilgrimage that united faith, hydraulic engineering, and millennial tradition. But for the pilgrims who visit the site today, the impact goes far beyond academic archaeology. Many describe the experience as something inexplicable, a feeling of crossing an invisible border between eras, of literally walking where thousands sought purification and where, according to tradition, sight was restored not only physically, but spiritually. Some say that the Pool of Siloam represents more than just a water reservoir. It is a mirror of humanity itself on invitation to inner cleansing, to seek a vision beyond the merely visible. The ancient stones, the waters that still flow through Hezekiah's tunnel, and the reverent silence of the place compose a landscape where the sacred seems to breathe between the cracks of history. The journey to the well is also an exercise in humility. The descent down the steps symbolizes a dive into oneself, a need to shed superficial certainties to find profound clarity. Just as the blind man in the ancient tale needed to trust and wash himself to see, perhaps each visitor to Siloam still repeats the same gesture, in silence, seeking to see something that goes beyond the material form. Today, the Pool of Siloam is being restored in one of the most ambitious and significant archaeological excavations in modern Jerusalem. The project, led by the Israel Antiquities Authority, aims to open the entire area to public visitation, reconnecting it to the ancient pilgrim road and the underground tunnel system. What was buried for almost 2 millennia, hidden beneath Ottoman houses and layers of neglect, is now returning to light us. If the city itself were recovering part of its lost vision, and that is perhaps the true beauty of Siloam, a place where history and faith do not compete, but organically complement each other, where the miracle is not just that of a man who regained his sight 2,000 years ago, but that of a world that slowly rediscovers its spiritual roots through the stones that insist on telling their stories. The Pool of Siloam doesn't belong to just one people or a specific belief. It's a universal reminder that the sacred can be forgotten, buried under the weight of time, but never completely erased. A powerful reminder that, however deep the layers of time may be, there is always something essential waiting to be revealed. If this video sparked in you a desire to learn more about the places where the invisible becomes tangible, where faith meets archaeology, and where every stone has a story to tell, leave your comment below sharing what you felt, and subscribe to Sacred Roots. Your presence here not only helps this journey continue, it's part of it, because we seek not only ruins and monuments, but the stories that still breathe, pulsate, and transform us among the stones of the ancient world. The Pool of Siloam is more than just an archaeological site. It's a bridge between eras, a doorway made of water and silence that invites each of us to see a little beyond what our physical eyes can perceive. Until the next Sacred Route.